They scanned the Terran warship. Its age was older than their empire. Red lights filled the bridge before I even understood what my scanner was telling me. My hands froze over the console. The numbers on the screen kept climbing, and none of them made sense. "Ethan, report," barked Commander Grace Miller from her chair. Her voice was sharp, the kind of sharp that comes from years of commanding a ship through danger. "I am Ethan Cole, sensor officer aboard the Dominion cruiser Vanguard. My job is simple: find threats before they find us." That night, I found something that should not exist. "Commander, I am reading a vessel," I said, my throat tight. "It is massive, it is ancient, and it is still powered." Grace stood up from her chair and walked to my station. Her eyes scanned the readout, and I watched her face change from calm control to quiet disbelief. "That cannot be right," she said. "Run it again." I ran it again. The result did not change. The ship drifting in front of us, dark and silent against the stars, was older than the Dominion itself, older than our history books, older than the oldest story any of us had ever been taught. "Age estimate," Grace said, her voice lower now, almost a whisper. 11,000 years, I said, possibly more. Silence swallowed the bridge. Nobody moved, nobody breathed. Then Lieutenant Claire Bennett, our weapons officer, broke the quiet. "That is not possible," she said, shaking her head. "Nothing survives that long in open space. No hull, no power core, nothing." "I know what the sensors say, Claire," I said, keeping my tone steady, even though my heart was pounding. I checked it 4 times before I said a word. Grace turned to the main screen and ordered a visual feed. The image came up slowly, pixel by pixel, until the shape sharpened into focus. A warship, scarred and patched, covered in strange metal plating that did not match any manufacturing era we knew. Along its side, faint but unmistakable, was a symbol. "That marking," said Noah Turner, our young navigator, leaning forward in his seat. "I have seen that symbol before, in old archive files. It belongs to a species called human. Humans went extinct centuries before the Dominion was even formed," Claire said. "Everyone knows that. It is written in every history file we have." "Maybe not everyone," I said quietly. Grace ordered a full scan of the vessel's structure. My screen filled with data, more data than I had ever processed in one sitting. The hull showed repairs from at least 4 different centuries. Someone, or something, had kept this ship alive far longer than any vessel should survive. "There is a power signature," I said, watching a small pulse appear on my screen. "Weak, but active. The core is still running." Grace's eyes narrowed. "Life signs?" I hesitated before answering, because I did not believe what I was seeing. One, just one, inside what looks like a stasis chamber near the core. The bridge fell into stunned silence again. Claire stepped closer to my station, staring at the number as if it might change if she looked hard enough. "1 person," she said, "alive, after 11,000 years." "According to the biological readings, yes," I said. "The body shows extreme age markers, but there is still brain activity. Faint, but present." Grace turned away from the screen and paced slowly across the bridge, her boots echoing against the metal floor. I could see her mind working through the danger of what we had found. A ship that old, still armed, still powered, was not something to take lightly. "Options," she said finally, facing the crew. "We destroy it," Claire said immediately. "We do not know what it carries. We do not know what it can do. An unknown threat that old could be more dangerous than anything in our current fleet." "Or it could be the most important discovery of our lifetime," Noah said. "If that ship survived that long, imagine what its systems could teach us. Imagine what its data could tell us about the past." Grace looked at me. "Ethan, your assessment." I took a breath before answering. This was the moment my entire career had prepared me for, and I was not going to waste it. The ship has not moved, I said. It has not raised shields. It has not charged weapons. If it wanted to attack us, it has had plenty of time to try. I believe it is simply waiting. Waiting for what? Claire asked. I do not know, I admitted, but I think we should find out. Grace considered this for a long moment, then gave the order I had been hoping for. Open a channel. Let us see what happens. The transmission took nearly 40 minutes to receive a response, which felt like the longest 40 minutes of my life. Every second stretched painfully as we waited, watching the silent shape on our screen, wondering if it would answer at all. Then, without warning, my console lit up. Text began appearing on my screen, one character at a time, slow and deliberate, as if being typed by a hand that had not moved in a very long time. Unit designation, Fortitude. Last contact unknown. Status still holding position. Identify yourselves. I read the message aloud to the bridge. Nobody spoke for several seconds. Holding position against what? Noah asked. There is nothing out here. There has not been anything out here for longer than any of us have been alive. I stared at the words on my screen, and something about them chilled me deeply. Whatever crew had once commanded that ship, whatever mission they had been given, this single remaining presence had been following that order for thousands of years, alone, in the freezing dark, waiting for a threat that might never return. Send a response, Grace ordered. Tell them who we are. Tell them the war they remember, if there was one, ended long ago. I typed the message carefully, choosing each word with care. The response came faster this time, within minutes. Confirm. War status. They want to know if the danger they were guarding against still exists, I said. Grace stepped closer to the screen, studying the words as if they held a secret buried deep beneath their simple structure. Tell them the threat is gone. Tell them it has been gone for a very long time. I sent the message. The reply came almost instantly this time, as if something inside that ancient system had been holding its breath, waiting for exactly those words. Understood. Standing down. A soft hum echoed through our own ship as the ancient vessel's power signature shifted. The weak pulse I had been tracking grew slightly stronger, then steadied into a calm, quiet rhythm, like something finally allowed to rest after carrying a heavy weight for far too long. Life signs are changing, I said, watching my screen closely. The stasis chamber is opening. Grace ordered a careful approach. Our shuttle crossed the gap between the two ships, slowly, cautiously, every one of us holding our breath as the ancient hull grew larger in the viewport. Up close, the scars across its surface told a story of countless repairs, countless battles, countless years spent surviving against odds none of us could imagine. Inside, the air was cold and still. Claire led our small team through narrow corridors, lit only by dim emergency lighting that flickered weakly against walls covered in frost. We found the stasis chamber near the center of the ship, exactly where my scan had shown it. Inside lay an old woman, her face lined with the weight of countless years, her eyes slowly opening for what might have been the first time in millennia. Her name, according to a faded plate beside the chamber, was Margaret Hale. "Where am I?" she whispered, her voice rough and unused. "You are safe," Grace said gently, kneeling beside her. "The war you were fighting ended a very long time ago." Margaret's eyes filled with tears, though whether from relief or grief, none of us could tell. She had spent longer than our entire civilization existed, holding a line that no longer needed defending, faithful to an order given by people who had died so long ago that even their names had been forgotten. We brought her aboard the Vanguard, wrapped in warm blankets, surrounded by a crew who did not fully understand what she had lived through, but who respected it deeply. Over the following days, Margaret told us fragments of her story, pieces of a history so old, it barely resembled anything in our records. She spoke of a war fought across stars we no longer recognized, against an enemy whose name had faded from memory long before the Dominion ever existed. I sat with her often during that time, listening carefully, recording everything I could, aware that I was hearing history that no living being besides her had witnessed. She never once complained about the years she had lost. She only expressed quiet gratitude that her long watch had finally come to an end. Grace filed a full report to Dominion Command, recommending immediate historical review of everything we thought we knew about the Empire's origins. My own report focused on the ship itself, the impossible engineering that had kept it running for so many thousands of years, and the discipline of whoever had built systems capable of surviving that long without failure. As I finished my final log entry that night, I thought about Margaret Hale, alone in the dark for so long, faithful to a duty that outlived everyone who had given it to her. I thought about how easily we had almost destroyed her ship, and everything she carried within it, simply because we did not understand what we were looking at. I am Ethan Cole, Sensor Officer of the Vanguard, and I was the one who found her. I do not think I will ever forget the moment those words appeared on my screen, proof that patience and loyalty can outlast empires, and that sometimes the bravest thing anyone can do is simply keep waiting, long after everyone else has given up hope of being found.